And today our adventure begins right here in McDowell County, West Virginia. We're going to go check out some small towns today. And I'm here on Highway 52 driving toward a place called Northfork, which is a little small community. And I really can't wait to go check some of this stuff out today and look at these towns. McDowell County is an interesting county because if you go read up about it a little bit, it is consistently like one of the poorest counties in the entire United States. It's normally always in the top 5, and sometimes it's on the very top. Sometimes it's the number 1 position. There's other counties around the US, places out in North Dakota, South Dakota, Mississippi that kind of shares the spotlight of that, even though it's not really a spotlight you want to, have. But we're going to go check out some of these places today, look at a few towns, and see what we can get into here in McDowell County, West Virginia. And that was great timing. Got here in town just in time to see the train pass through. Well, good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch, Hiking, Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's good to be here in McDowell County. We're going to go check out some small towns today, learn a little bit about the history of these towns, and I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of abandoned stuff along our route here on Highway 52. Keep your eyes peeled and your head up because there is a lot of side-by-sides on this road in this area. A lot. I mean, probably more side-by-sides than I've seen cars so far since I've entered this county. So all that being said, good to have you here. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so this is right here in the town of Northfork. So you can hear a train off in the distance. Up there's an old ghost sign on the side of this building that says Mobile Chevrolet and Cadillac, which this might have been a car dealership at one time, maybe. Just throwing a guess out there. But I do want to talk a little bit about the history of Northfork. It's a small coal town here in southern West Virginia with history deeply tied to the rise and fall of the coal industry in McDowell County. Northfork was established in the late 19th century as coal companies expanded into the rich Pocahontas coal fields. The town takes its name from North Fork of the Elkhorn Creek, which runs through the area here. It was built largely as a coal camp community serving nearby mines and rail lines. In the early 1900s, Northfork thrived as part of one of the most productive coal regions here in the United States. The town grew quickly with coal miners and their families, railroad workers, local businesses supporting the mining economy. Like nearby Bramwell, West Virginia, Northfork benefited from the booming coal trade, though it was more of a working class town rather than a millionaire hub. After World War II, mechanization and changes in energy demand reduced the need for miners. McDowell County, West Virginia was hit especially hard. Massive job losses, population decline, and businesses started closing everywhere. Northfork's population dropped dramatically from its peak, following the same pattern as many Appalachian coal towns. So flooding and hardship has also hit this community really hard. And this region has experienced repeated flooding over the decades, damaging homes and infrastructure combined with economic decline. This made recovery very difficult for the town. So today Northfork is a quiet, much smaller community, but it still reflects its old coal heritage. You can still see old buildings tied to the coal era, the layout of the classic Appalachian mining town. It stands as a reminder of how important coal once was to southern West Virginia and how quickly things can change. And look at this place right here, this old structure. See if we can look up there at the very top. It says the Clark National Bank. And this thing dates back, it was established in 1906 during the height of the coal boom. This was part of it, right there. That is so cool. And then right here we have a place called Big Boys ATV Cycle Shop, which it looks to be closed down. Like anything's really happened much there. And then you have this old Family Dollar here where I've seen quite a few cars kind of move in and around that place, going inside getting some goods. But other than that Family Dollar and this Pick and Save right here, I ain't seen anything else with any kind of traffic other than just through traffic. And I got to tell you something, as I stand here on this Main Street area and I look up on the hillside there and you look at those homes, I think a lot of these homes are abandoned. I don't think there's any folks living in any of these homes up here on this mountainside much. There's not a lot of movement, it's very quiet, and a lot of the homes have all kinds of stuff growing, vines and things like that. Which, let's talk about population a little bit. Population here in the town of Northfork is 248 with a median age of 41.3. So next up, let's look at demographics. 65.73% is white, 34.27% is black. Then when we look at income per capita here is $10,538. which is well below the West Virginia 24,002 and the national 29,829. And then let's look at median household income, 20,750. Folks, that is really, really low. That is really low. And then when we look down at the poverty level here in Northfork, 50.4%. Ouch. That is very, very high. Look at how that compares to the rest of West Virginia at 17.7. It just shows you the poverty level here is skyrocketed. Next up, we're going to look at crime. Crime here in Northfork is 2,280 per 100,000 people in total crime, which equates to 2.2 per 1,000, which is definitely a little bit higher than West Virginia and the national average. Okay, so I think that is going to pretty much do it for this area. We're going to head on down the road a couple miles to a place called Keystone. Go check it out. See what kind of history we can uncover there. Wow, look at these places here. Man alive. That is unbelievable. Oh my gosh. I gotta say, this place has been a eye-opening experience for me today. Yeah, this place has really been hit hard over the years. And it's fair to say I misspoke when I said 2 miles, more like 2 minutes. It wasn't even a mile away from my location. Keystone is actually right next door to the town of Northfork. So welcome to Keystone, West Virginia. Keystone is one of the most historically and important coal towns in southern McDowell County, West Virginia, especially known for its role in African American history and coal mining. So Keystone was founded in the 1890s as part of the rapid expansion of the Pocahontas coal fields. It quickly became a major coal and railroad center sitting along the Norfolk and Western railways. Coal companies built much of the town, attracting workers from across the U.S. and abroad. And if you're asking what made Keystone stand out, it was the large and thriving African American population. By the early 1900s, African Americans made up the majority of the residents here. Many held skilled jobs and owned businesses and worked in professional roles. Keystone became known as the Little New York of McDowell County. One of the wealthiest black communities in Appalachia was right here in this very town. So the business and culture here in Keystone was really vibrant here in the downtown area. They were hotels, they had theaters, restaurants, black-owned businesses, and professional offices. Also, one of the most famous institutions was the People's Bank of Keystone. Founded in 1899, it became one of the most successful black-owned banks in the United States, serving African-American miners and entrepreneurs who were often, at that time, excluded elsewhere. Like much of McDowell County, Keystone started declining. Coal jobs disappeared due to mechanization, rail traffic decreased, businesses closed, and many residents moved away for work in other states. So why is Keystone so fascinating? It's not just a coal town, it's a story of opportunity and self-determination. Cultural strength during segregation, the boom and bust cycle of Appalachia. Okay, so next up, let's look at demographics. 26.19% is white, 73.81% is black. And so next up, let's look at the income. The income per capita is $15,813, and the median household income is only $21,618. Whoa, for the entire home for the year. It doesn't matter if there's 3 or 4 people in the home, whatever, that's what they're living off of. And then when we look at the poverty rate here in the town of Keystone is wild. Look at this, 56.4 persons below the poverty line. And then children under 18 are 86%. Holy moly, that is really, really scary. And then we look at crime. NA, non-applicable. They don't even have no data for it here. It's so desolate. So we don't really run into that all that often here on the channel, but today's one of those days. Okay, I gotta say, this has been quite the eye-opening experience. Look at that old church up there on the hilltop. This has been something to see all this stuff today. It's like there's an old business or something right up here also. The window's all broken out. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but yeah. This is wild. So I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. Learned a little bit, I know I did. I learned a lot. I never heard of Keystone before. I did not know the history of the black African-American miners that thrived here in this town in the early 1900s. Really cool chunk of history. I'm glad I could bring that to you. I hope you guys enjoyed all that. And I just cannot believe how abandoned and the high poverty here in this land. It is unbelievable to see in person. You hear about stuff, but until you go out and you actually experience it and get to see it with your own eyes, it really is a wild and crazy thing to see how this state and the coal industry just got up and left nothing but destruction in the wake. I mean, just look up there on those hills, on the side of those hills, those big homes. And they're just got kudzu and all kinds of stuff just growing all over them. Very much abandoned and nothing really happening. That is wild. All that being said, my friends, I'm done today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you on my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and hope to see you all again soon. And say so long to the small town of Keystone. Look at that down through there.